Okay.
All right, everybody. Figured we kick things off. We're back with another edition of SWATcast. Johnny is back after a 1 week
Yes.
hiatus. He was traded for a week and replaced, but people spoke and he's back. So
I
um,
I'll touch on that briefly. That's not the case, but you trying to
okay.
do this recording every week at the same time as Dancing with the Stars is a little is
I
getting a
well
little
I
crazy, but
I figured
I
I
am
know
back.
you
Yeah.
you got to prioritize, John. You got to prioritize. So the background music, hopefully you guys could even hear this. I figured I'd kick things off with a little Toby Keith, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, which is fitting because it is Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day to everybody. Thank you to all the veterans out there. We appreciate you serving and doing what you did for all of us so that we could do things like this, like the SWATcast, and be on here. And our special guest tonight is not just a veteran of SWAT, who is an original member, but a veteran of the military, and way more prestigious than SWAT. Obviously, he's a veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, a member of for the last 13 years in SWAT. Bill Bryan, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
And I know I had no gray hair when I joined SWAT.
Yeah, I also had a lot more hair too, I think. Yeah, no, Bill, thank you very much for joining. I think it made sense to have you on Veterans Day. Knowing you've been a part of SWAT for so long, and like I said, a member of the U.S. Marine Corps. So, thank you for your service, and thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Um, so we'll just real quick, if you want to give a background of your time in the Marines and years you served and where you were and all that stuff, I think that would be a great way to kick things off.
So I served active duty from December of 65 until September of 69. And I actually got out 3 months early because they had an early out program to go to college. And I had been accepted at New Haven College, which then became the University of New Haven. So I got out early. But in that almost 4 years that I served, of course, I started out at Paris Island, which everybody knows how the history of Paris Island. Then I did almost a year in San Diego when they sent me to electronics school, which is pretty funny because I could barely change a light bulb when I went in. But I think I did well on the math test. We did testing at boot camp. So I think that's how I ended up there. And
Got
I
it.
love San Diego because I'm a beach lover and the great beaches out there.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, not a bad area.
while I was there, I got the orders for Vietnam. So I went to Chu Vietnam in April of 67. And the first week there, we were hit with mortars one night. And we
Wow.
all went running into the bunkers. And I brought my rifle, my helmet, and all my equipment. All the guys laughed at me and said, "Forget that stuff in the future. Just get down, get into safety. Don't worry about all that stuff." But most interesting was next morning, about I'd say 15 to 20 yards away, was an unexploded mortar. It had landed that close to us, but it was a dummy. It didn't go off.
Wow.
So that was pretty lucky. So from then until the following January, Shulai was a very secure, safe air base. Nothing ever happened. I fired my rifle once just to make sure it worked because my
Okay.
job was radio and telephone repair. So we were kind of, in the background of the battles. But then I was on guard duty the night of January 30th when the Tet Offensive started. I don't know if you've heard of the Tet Offensive,
Yep.
which was a
Yep.
major battle then. And they hit our base with 21 rockets. And we could actually see the rockets fired from the hills to the south. No, to the west, I guess. Let's see. Let me think. No, that was to the east because the South China Sea was to our west. And you could hear, I don't know how to describe the sound, but you could hear them going overhead. But anyhow, the 21st one hit the bomb dump, and that set off a massive explosion that we felt over a mile away. And that
Wow.
continued to explode throughout the whole next day. And we said, if we'd known that was the target, we would have said, here it is, just hit it and get it over with. But then, because of the work we did that day, we were awarded the Presidential Unit Citation. which is a pretty good thing. So I have been thinking about staying 6 more months because it was a beautiful beach there. And I said, if this wasn't a country at war, it'd be a beautiful resort.
Yeah.
And I got to go swimming quite a bit in our off time. But then after that, I said, I'm getting out of here. My time's up in April because we did 13-month tours. And
Okay.
from then on, we had to work 12-hour days, 7 days a week, wear our flak jackets everywhere we want, take our rifles everywhere. So
Yep.
it became real. So
Wow.
I was glad to leave in April. And then
Yeah.
I came home. And then that year ended up, was a very interesting ending. I got assigned to sea duty on the USS Yorktown, a carrier, and we recovered the Apollo 8 2 days after Christmas that year. So in 2018, I wrote a 55-page memoir called 1968, A Most Memorable Year, because it started out with the Tet Offensive.
Sure.
We had two assassinations, Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King. That summer, there were riots in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. And other things happened throughout the year, and then wrapped up the year with the recovery of the Apollo 8, which was so exciting. That was like being a kid at Christmas. I remember that morning getting up at 4:30, and it was so exciting. And then we got to spend New Year's Eve in Honolulu, Hawaii. So it was quite a year.
Wow. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. And then we went back to California. Long Beach was our home port. And we got orders transferring us to the East Coast, to Norfolk, Virginia. And we went there by way of South America with a stop in Valparaiso, Chile, and then Rio de Janeiro, right in time for Carnival. So I've always said the best part of my time in the service was the travel. And I got to see places I never would have seen
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's true. I
So,
mean, I guess if there's a positive out of it, right?
yeah. So then when I wanted to there was no way I was going to make a career with it.
Yeah.
And there was too much petty stuff in the Marine Corps I didn't want to have to deal with. So
Yeah.
chance came to get out in September. I went for it, and the rest is history. So,
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that is quite a story. And again, thank you for your service. Yeah, I mean, again, we're because of, you know, people like you who have served in the military, we're able to do, live free and do the things that we like to do and talk SWAT and and obviously get a little bit of a history lesson as well, which is awesome. I mean, it's great to hear. And I know you're very proud of the time that you served. I know you've done a lot of work in the Stratford Veterans Museum, which we'll talk about a little bit later on because I definitely want to talk about that because it definitely has a little bit of a tie into SWAT, a
oh
little
yeah.
connection to SWAT and the distribution and all that stuff. So we'll definitely get into that. But no,
Well,
thanks
one
for
one
going through all that.
one
Yeah, go
final
ahead.
thing is uh, on June 2nd. I don't know if you know. I had open heart surgery,
Yes, yes.
triple
I was going to ask you how you've been
triple
feeling.
bypass, and it went very well. I'm doing great, but that's all because of that. I'm getting 100% disability, which is a nice check every month from the VA because of Agent Orange is a presumptive if you served in Vietnam. And I also was in Camp Lejeune, and everybody's heard about the water in Camp Lejeune because of all the stupid lawyer ads that have been on for a couple of years now.
Yep.
So all went well. I had two incredible Yale surgeons. It was done at the VA, but we benefit from the Yale being nearby, and Yale surgeons did the work. So I'm
Okay.
playing golf again, started golf again in
I
August. So
I was just going to ask you if you've been back out on the golf course. So, I
I
know
played.
the
I played today, Bill.
did you?
I did. Sure
Oh
did.
man, it was
you
cold.
played today in like 30
Oh,
degree weather.
Played 18 down in Norwalk. Yeah, snowed on us and everything.
oh,
Wow.
jeez, you're
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, that's a little crazy. But yeah, no, I remember seeing you at the I think it was the Veterans Museum fundraiser at Short Beach. And
Oh yeah,
I know you said at the time obviously you weren't able to do anything, but you were there representing
yeah,
and keeping watch. So
yeah.
nice, nice. All right, yeah, definitely more on the Veterans Museum. We'll change gears a little bit. We'll let cousin Jonnu Smith talk. Will gave you that nickname last
Yeah,
week. He
thank
did
you.
not score. I looked that one up. He didn't score at all. I think he caught like I'll pass maybe, but in your absence, obviously, last week you did submit your parlay to Will, which I actually thought was pretty good. Was it a tie into Election Day? Was that the reason?
Yeah, of course, that's 100% the reason that we do
Okay,
it.
that's what I figured. It was the Declaration of Parlay
Yeah,
Dependence or whatever you called it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I thought was very creative. Bill, I
Thank
don't,
you.
Bill, have you been watching all the
Yeah, I
SWATcast?
saw his.
Okay, so you could be honest and say you didn't. So, um, but yeah, I thought his was creative, but it actually, I think three out of the four scored. I think Justin Jefferson was the only one who didn't, like of all the receivers.
Well,
So that was
listen,
close.
you see the money in the background this week. I got I don't know. I got a good feeling about this week's. But to tie in this week's, though there's nobody with any names of some of the like. I'll just get right to it. I'm going with three-leg parlay. I'm going with three different forts. Fort Myers. I'm going Jacoby Myers.
With his
Fort
new
Knox.
team.
Fort Knox. Yeah, correct. New team, right? He got traded to the Jags. Fort Knox. Dawson Knox to the Bills. And Fort McHenry. I'm going to go Derrick Henry. Yeah, it's the closest
It's a
I think I
stretch,
get.
but I get it. That's
There were a
close.
couple other stretches that I left off the list. But those are the three. Each to score a touchdown. I did double check. All three teams do play this week.
That's
Um,
good. You did your
so
homework.
so it hasn't lost yet, I guess. I've got a couple of just brief little shout outs here. Shout out to S.O. Rekinzinski sitting in went from sixth to first. Shout out to PJ Rekinzinski who went from 28th to 11th. I assume there's a relation there. And both of them both obviously made big jumps. Shout out to Jed, which is my entry that went from 4th to 20th, thanks to Carolina.
Yeah.
And shout out to TB12 underscore GOAT. I wonder when that's going to change to D May underscore GOAT. Because Drake May's got the Patriots looking pretty good.
Yeah. MVP candidate, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think he's the favorite right now.
Yeah. Wouldn't be
But
surprised.
yeah. I mean, if we're talking football, Jets won the last two. So the we're back. I don't know if they just had to cut some loose ends on the guys that they traded away, and that's what was holding them back all year, or what it was. And your Giants went and fired Dable. Wanted to see what you thought on that.
I'm not surprised one bit. I actually was a Dable fan, but at this point, I mean, they could easily be right in the mix. Like they've blown 3 or 4 games this year, late in the games. Like, I mean, someone's got to take the blame for it, and in the NFL, it's always the head coach. So, you hate to see it, but I completely agree with it, and I was not one bit surprised. So, I don't know. Bill, who's your NFL team?
Yeah, Giants. I had to agree with the announcers Sunday when they went for the field goal instead of the touchdown when they had what 4th and 1, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And at this point, why not go for the touchdown?
I mean, you got nothing to lose. I understand, like, it puts them up 10, and you like to think that they could hold that, but at the same time, like, I mean, it's easy to look back at it now and be like, oh, they should have scored. In my head, to be honest with you, I was in the car driving, and then listening on the radio, but I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, you got 1 yard, just punch it in and go up 2 scores rather than the 10. Just, I mean, you just never know. But at this point, like, like, you're not playing to get in the playoffs. Like, you're trying to build momentum and do something. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, but
And you know you have a knack for blowing games, so get as much.
yeah, true, true. And it's like, oh, well, their defense was doing really well up until that point, but yeah, their defense was doing really well in the other games too that they blew, and so I don't know. It's just it's frustrating because they're finally exciting to watch, but now everybody's hurt. Neighbors is out, Scadaboo's out. Dar, I don't know if he's going to play at all this week. I haven't heard anything on him yet with being in concussion protocol and all that stuff, but yeah, I don't know. It's not surprising that they fired him, and we'll see what happens for next year.
But they sure were exciting with Dart and Scatterbo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, you actually sit down and what, like, in the past
Yeah,
few years, like, I didn't care if I missed the game, to be honest with you.
right.
But now, if I'm home, I'm definitely turning on and watching. So, they have definitely been fun to watch. But I don't know. So Johnny, any other shout outs or anything from
Nope, those are shout outs. Thank you, Will, for covering me last week. Phil, sorry I missed you. I'll catch you on the next one.
And Johnny, I've got a shout out for you. This is a little off subject, but shout out to you and your dad, Neil, for the work you did in our third floor at the Veterans Museum. They donated their services to put in sheetrock as we renovated our attic into office space and storage space. So thanks a lot, Johnny.
It's the least we could do, Bill. Absolutely.
It was a great
Yeah,
help.
it's yeah. And Bill, why don't you talk a little bit about the Stratford Veterans Museum then, since people that are watching this have probably seen emails come through from either you or your brother Jim for different pools and stuff that are fundraisers for that. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and it's the fourth anniversary this Thursday of our grand opening. And when we first started talking about this in 2018, I don't think there was much support, or I don't think people believed in what we were trying to do. But once it took off and started to develop, everybody supported. The town's been great. The donors, and we're up to 920 pictures in what we call the Blue Star Room, which has now been expanded into a second room. And I
Wow.
always say, if you have a Stratford relative, friend, whoever, dead or alive, who ever lived in Stratford and served, we want their picture. And it's estimated over 10,000 served throughout since Revolutionary War times in Stratford. So we have a long way to go.
Wow. Wow.
And we're outgrowing the space. And a big hit, especially with the kids, is in the basement is our flight simulator.
Yeah, yeah. My son did that. We visited the museum I don't know, a couple months ago. Actually, I don't remember exactly when it was, but yeah, he got to do the simulator thing, so he thought that was pretty cool.
And the kids are a lot better at it than the adults because they're
Yeah.
just doing that sort of thing. But Bob
Yeah.
Mastroni, Bob Mastroni, who's our president of the museum, his nickname is Crash because he crashes so much. But but that's the real thing. I mean, if you're training to be a pilot, they say you can actually train on this simulator. Have you ever
Okay.
tried it, Johnny?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
You should. You should do it. Well, maybe we'll get a video and send that out to the whole SWAT crew.
There you
Show how
go.
you did that. No, that was good. The whole museum I is really well done. We probably could have spent even longer there, and I'll definitely go back. But obviously, my father's picture is in there. He served in the army, so thanks, Dad, for your service as well. But yeah,
And I
so
think
his
it is
picture's
your
in there.
grandfather too.
My grand. I was gonna say my grand or our grandfather is in there as well. So yeah, that was really cool to see, and I think it's a really good job there with so much stuff. Like I don't think I would have thought that there was that much um history to show and articles and pictures and just all kinds of stuff represented. It's very well done.
And the main thing we do is our field trips. And
Yes.
this year we're going to have more than ever this year, which is great. And the best part is we can pay for the buses. We have a budget just to pay for the buses because
Oh, wow.
it's an issue for the schools. We don't want the kids having to pay anything. So
Sure.
that's been great. And
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to do as we continue to grow. We're going to run out of space, but maybe there's a way to add on in the future. But we'll have to
Yeah.
wait and see.
Hmm.
Well, so for everybody out there, if you see one of those emails come across where it's a Stratford Veterans Museum fundraiser, that's what this is all going to. So usually it's like a 50-50 split of the winnings. I know you guys do the golf tournaments. You've been doing the Thursday night squares. So there's a couple different fundraisers out there. So if you guys see it, I know it's usually sent out to the entire SWAT distribution list as well. So again, this is what it's going to and where it's coming from. So
Yeah, and the golf fundraisers, whatever we get from that, we put into that account to pay for the buses.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. No, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So great. So going back to SWAT, like I said, Bill, you were part of the very first season of SWAT, and I looked it up. So we had 28 entries in that very first year back in 2013. You were one of the original members. I'm sure I probably talked to you about it when I was getting the word out initially through Sterling House Community Center when we were running the flag football league and all that stuff. So I'm assuming that's how you got involved in SWAT. But I looked it up. You came in third place that first year. I don't know if you
No,
remember
I
that.
did.
Yeah, you did.
Wow.
Well,
You came in
I've
third
come
place. You tied. Yeah, you
nowhere
tied for
close
third.
since then.
Well, your best finish other than that has been eighth. So you did come in eighth back in. You just missed coming in the money in one of the money spots in 2019. You average 49th place.
Wow,
So
you
which
have
is
all the
like
stats, huh?
the top 38%. Oh yeah, we
Which
have it all.
isn't bad now that there's 200 something people, but I guess was pretty bad if there was only 28.
Right. Well,
That's true. But yeah, but when
Tish
there was that
goes
many,
as
he was in third.
Yeah.
Tish goes as Pam, and she was in the top one of the top finishers that one year, and then for her last week, she took bad advice from me and my brother Jim, and it cost her the money.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
But
Yeah,
one
that's
thing,
yeah.
I
Okay.
hope winners throw a tip your way, at least the big winners, because you do all this for nothing and you put an awful lot of time in. In fact, how much time do you put in an average week?
I honestly I don't know. I've thought about actually like calculating every time like somebody sends a pick in or whatever and like just trying to estimate that and then the worksheet. Honestly, I have it down to a science now where, I'll type stuff in like as I'm watching the games on TV. So it's not like it's taken, I mean, there is a lot that goes into it. And if I were to just hand this over, if I told Johnny one week to take care of it, like I feel like it would take somebody who hasn't done it quite a while. But I don't know, I just know the formulas and all the things that I do, so it's not as bad. There is a lot. I appreciate you calling out the tip thing. I never asked for that. I don't take any money off the top. I enjoy doing it. One of these years I would like to win it. But it is what it is. I do enjoy doing this. I love stats and numbers and all that stuff. And the write-up this week, actually, there's a ton of like really cool stats based on the scores, some of the scores that were this past week, which things that haven't happened in a while or things that barely have happened at all, which I found fascinating. I'm like a stat geek, I guess you could say, but yeah, I enjoy doing it. So I appreciate you saying that though, Bill. And some do, some don't. I don't say a word. It's totally up to them. They earned it. They take whatever they want. So
But with well over 200 people in it, I just can't imagine how you keep up with all those. Although I guess as it goes along, many of them drop out. That's why I still say
they
there should be
do.
a winner for the lowest score of anybody that doesn't drop out. Right now on my Thursday team, my Thursday night
Yes.
picks, I think I'm at 6 plus 6. So I'd be if somebody hits zero, at least maybe a free play next year.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be impressive. Yes, I did. So obviously because you've been around from the beginning, you know all about the Thursday theory and how like there was a couple years where all those Thursday games were blowouts, and we're like, man, if
Yeah,
somebody was just picking those Thursday games all along, they'd be right up there, which is why I started keeping track. Now this year there's been a couple blowouts, but for the most part, it hasn't been that same that we've seen in past years. But I do see that you've kind of been sticking with that, at least in one year entries, trying to pick all the Thursday games. Unfortunately, it's not working out this year too well, but I appreciate the kind of like the shout out to the Thursday theory there. So
but I think I had the Giants when they won. I
you might have, which that would have been, yeah,
I,
obviously,
yeah,
who would have thought that one, but
right. Oh, and
so
while I'm thinking of it, you do the tiebreakers. Have you ever had to use the tiebreaker? And
yeah, it's a good question. I think there was like one year where it had to break one of the ties, but I don't think it was like they either were in the money or were out of the money. I think it was just to separate them, like, fourth and fifth or something like that. I
yeah,
think that's just off the top of my head, and I'll have our intern go back and check all that stuff, whoever that is,
yeah,
and see if that actually ever happened. But that year, that the very first year. And I wrote this up a couple weeks ago. There were no tiebreakers, so 11 people, or no, not 11, 7 people ended up in the money because of ties. And that was literally 25% of the pool. Like 7 out of the 28 people that were in it
wow.
got money back in that first year. So that's probably why I ended up doing tiebreakers after that. And I was not one of the 7 in that first year either. So even in a season with not as many entries, I was couldn't even crack the top 25%. So What are you gonna do?
Now
And
I will admit I haven't seen all the podcasts, but I enjoyed the one with the brothers that were on Amazing Race. How'd you get those guys?
yeah, so so Enzo, who was also on Big Brother, which is why he
Right.
was on Amazing Race this year, I
And
filled in for him in a fantasy baseball league because he was filming another show, The Challenge. And so the guy that was our guest last week, Phil knows a couple of these like Big Brother contestants from just going to some of these like finale parties and stuff like that. He's in a fantasy league with them, knew Enzo wasn't going to be able to make it, asked me to fill in, so I did. And then his brother Giacomo was the one that won it that year and covered all the expenses and did me a favor since I was doing them a favor because I didn't win anything. I was supposed to pay, and he's like, you know what, I got it. You did us a favor, so um, so I threw them a couple entries for SWAT, which is how they're in it. But they seem to be loving it. And then when I saw that they were on Amazing Race this year, I'm like, oh my God, like we definitely gotta have you guys on. So
it
that's
was
the connection there.
interesting to hear him tell about what goes on, and because I watched that show, and
Yeah.
it was interesting to hear him say how the camera in his face, and
I know, yeah. Yeah,
but
especially since he was on Big Brother, cameras are in your face, all
yeah,
like not in your face, but there's
yeah.
cameras everywhere you go. And to hear that was like a bothersome to him, like that's crazy.
He's a character though. Wow,
Yes, he
I can
is.
see why
Yeah.
they have him on the shows. And then he mentioned, I guess, talking to their agent to see about the next show they're going to be
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, that's I know. Yeah, Dancing with the Stars, I think.
How about
Or
Mad
the
Dog? Never had any luck with Mad Dog, did you, Russo?
No, I actually that was gonna bring that up too. So obviously Chris Mad Dog Russo, from Mike and the Mad Dog fame, was the celebrity guest at the Sterling House Celebrity Breakfast, where Bill, you were honored with an award at that one. I had the chance to talk to him before everything started, and I mentioned the swap pool. He thought it was actually very interesting. And then Bill, I was surprised you even mentioned it during your speech, which I thought that was like awesome to hear you say that. So I tried. I sent him a message. I sent him the email. Told me to send it to his producer. They both responded and seemed to enjoy it, but and seemed to like the idea. But then, when
Yeah,
it came time for it, I asked them again, and I never reached back out to Mad Dog. I reached back out to his producer, and he didn't get back to me. It was like right as the season was starting. So.
That's funny.
But
yeah.
maybe for
Well,
next year, I'll see if he wants to do it for next year. But we'll see. It'd be interesting to have him on. Like, imagine that.
I mean, for a guy that's so crazy on the radio, he's really a very nice, down to earth person. He's
Oh, absolutely.
very friendly, and
Yes.
you know, Bobby Valentine's somebody I met, and I found him to be arrogant, but I really like
Interesting.
Mad Dog, and we've had him, I think, 3 times as our speaker.
Yeah. No, he was fantastic. Yeah, he was really good.
The first time I ever called him at FAN after somebody gave me his number, he acted like we were old friends. And when he heard we were a nonprofit, he said, "Oh, I don't charge nonprofits." So he does it for nothing.
Oh wow.
And you were
That
there,
no,
weren't you?
that's
I wasn't. No,
Oh,
unfortunately.
you weren't there?
my brother was there. Katie was there.
That's right. Yeah.
Um, my uncle John, and then and Lori. We were the ones that they were able to go to that one. But yeah, no, I said the same thing to him, and thanked him for doing that. Knowing that you guys were nonprofit, so that was awesome of him to do that. But yeah, hopefully he'll be a SWAT contestant sometime in the future. Maybe he'll be the one to make it 300 next year.
Wouldn't that be cool to get him on a podcast though?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, like I think we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Yeah, I mean, I joked around like Enzo, who's as close to a celebrity as we'll probably get, and he was probably had no idea what the heck he was even on. Um, yeah, I mean, to have Mad Dog, of course, if he was ever in it, I would certainly say, hey, we do this stupid little thing called SWATcast if you ever want to join, and I'm sure he would delete that message immediately. But no, hey, we'll see. Like I said, he was definitely very nice and very personable, and it was awesome to hear him speak. So he's very entertaining, that's for sure.
And I noticed one week you had a sponsor. It said sponsored by, I forget who it was, but what was that
We
all about?
we did, yeah. AccuDoc, down in Florida. It's one of the guys in SWATcast, who's a big. I think he's what, head of recruiting now. Is the
Something like
title
that,
he's
yeah.
got. Yeah, he brought in a bunch of people. He sent me water bottles, bottle opener, T-shirt.
It's
Trying to
Katie's
get it.
when Katie was down there, she used to work at the
Yeah,
same company, so that's how she
Yeah, yeah.
recruited people down there. So yeah, I haven't actually seen a check or anything, a sponsorship check, but Johnny did get some nice swag,
he
so
did. So if anyone else would like to, I'll be happy to wear any kind of hat or shirt or drink out of a water bottle. Next week, just connect and feel free to send it over.
awesome. Awesome. All right, so we got a few more minutes left, but one
Oh,
of the
by the
things that
way,
we
Joe, I was
yeah, go ahead.
disappointed you didn't have your Notre Dame shirt on today. Are you a big Notre Dame fan?
I am a big Notre Dame football fan, yes.
Because my granddaughter is in her second year at Notre Dame,
Oh, no kidding. Oh, I
and
didn't know that.
my son and his wife and my other granddaughter all were at the Navy Notre Dame game Saturday night, freezing,
Oh, and like the
and
snow and
coat on.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I've been a big Notre Dame fan for a very long time. But yeah, I thought about wearing it, but it'll make an appearance, I'm sure, again at some point. I got jerseys and everything too, so we can do it up real well. So
yeah. I guess the
um,
combination of being an O'Brien and my grandfather made me a big Notre Dame fan since I was a kid.
there you go. Yeah, that
So I
makes
was
sense.
thrilled when she decided to go there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very cool.
That is awesome. Nice. Maybe she can get Jeremiah Love to join our
Yeah.
SWATcast at some point. Like that'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah. He's something
Heisman
else.
favorite, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. He's got a good shot at it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's been red hot. He's tough to get down and he breaks those long runs. It's like that one this past week where they tackled him, but he never touched the ground and just rolled off the guy and jumped up and went like 80 yards or whatever it was. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
By the
love
way, I
that.
want you to reserve a new name for me next year. Tied
Okay.
in with tied in with today, 6'7".
Oh boy. Did Johnny put you up to that?
No,
I have a
no.
feeling Johnny put you up to that.
I just started learning about it the last couple of weeks, and I
Uh,
kind of like it because it's cleaner than a lot of the stuff these kids have got
There
into
you
in
go.
recent
yeah,
years. You know,
There you go.
it's cleaner. It's not any less annoying, but it's cleaner. And
It's-
I find myself like saying it comes up often, and you're just like you just shake your head like I can't believe that just happened.
That's funny.
But yeah, we can certainly reserve that for you, Bill, if you like. But by then it'll be some other new trend, I would assume. So
and I don't know if you
uh
want to talk about this, but I did research on your. I think this is the ninth podcast. That
okay.
sound right? And
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, 'cause it was this
I
week.
looked at how many views you've had, and I'm
Oh boy.
started off real strong, but it's dropped off a little.
It has dropped. We have like a good 25 to 30 that are like diehard SWATcast fans. Although maybe it's probably less than that because like Johnny clicks on it a whole bunch of times.
Oh,
At least once a day.
So yeah, he tries to get those views up, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's it's 20 to 30 minutes. People probably don't always have the time to do it, but I don't know. Johnny and I still do it
Yeah.
anyway. And I still every week there are people that send me messages and they're like, "Oh, that was a great SWATcast. Oh, I loved when you said this or did this." So, there's still at least a couple of people out there that
well, the
are
winner
enjoying
so
it.
far was the fourth one, 89 views. I think that's because you had Bethany on. People were hoping to get some good tips,
That's
I
funny.
guess.
Yeah.
Yes, but I had a feeling I told Bethany she was going to
That's
be
funny.
one of the top viewers just because she was like famous for, in SWAT. She's not too thrilled with me these days because the second she was on, she lost like that next week. So she thinks there's like a curse, which I don't know because like Bach was on in first place and then he hasn't been up there since. And others. So Bill, I apologize for any that happens to you after this.
Well, it
You
doesn't
know,
matter because I'm so far out of it right now.
well, that's the spirit, Bill. I appreciate that.
So, so
Well,
maybe
I
it'll
don't feel
work.
so bad.
Maybe it'll work the other way.
There you go.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's very funny. All right. So with the last like couple minutes that we have, we always do like the mini SWAT game.
Oh yeah,
Johnny and Will. So Will picked for you last week. You
yep.
guys ended up winning that one.
Did. I think I've only got
I
one loss so far by
Yeah, you only
one
have one
point.
loss by the
By
brothers
one
beat you,
point.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, by one. So this week, there's some big spreads this week, but the four games I picked were all 2.5 point spreads. So the first one, Bill, I'll let you choose. It's Washington at Miami.
Oh boy, look at after what Miami did last week, that was a shocker, huh?
It was, yeah.
But I'm going to go with Washington.
Okay. Johnny, you got Chargers at Jaguars.
Jaguars.
All right. Bill, 49ers at Arizona.
Oh, Arizona always kills me every time I pick them in SWAT, but I'll take Arizona.
Okay. Yeah, just like stupid Carolina, the 2 weeks in a row they've screwed me. I took Green Bay 2 weeks ago. Carolina beats them. I took them this week and they lose. Like
Yeah.
I'm so fed up with Carolina right now. It's not even funny.
I mean, I don't know how many times I say, I don't know why I do this each year. I get so frustrated, but
It is
they always
very
have to come
frustrating.
back.
That's true. All right, last one. The Detroit Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
I'll go Eagles.
Eagles. All right.
Good.
Yeah,
I was
that
going
should be a good
Detroit.
game. Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, cool. Well, that's all we got for tonight. We'll see how Johnny does and see if he can continue his good run so far in mini SWAT or whatever we want to call it. But again, Bill, thank you very much for joining tonight. Really appreciate you sharing all that stuff. Thank you again for your service. Thank you to all the veterans out there on this Veterans Day. Yeah, that's all I got, Johnny.
Yeah, thanks. This was fun, and I hope this grows for you over the years, and because it's great. I think keep it going.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, spread the word. I know you've recruited a bunch of people over the years that you've been in and spread the word. So yeah, can continue to do that, and I thank you for that. So
And one thing I forgot to mention too about the Veterans Museum website is, we do interviews of veterans, and you can watch those interviews by clicking on, and it's actually on YouTube because they're so long that we can't do it on our website, but the YouTube, it's a great way to watch an interview of veterans.
okay, I'll put that email I mean the website on my email when I send it
Oh,
out.
good. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right,
All
cool.
right.
Well, thanks
Thanks,
again,
guys.
everybody. Have a good night. Good luck in what are we, week 11 already?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So good luck. Make those picks.
Have a
Thank
good
Have a
one.
good one.
Take care.